everybody, and welcome to Senior Susie Stamps. I'm Julia, and I'm so glad you're here today. I have a fun project for us, I hope. I wanted to use a little bit different size card today, and I have a little template for you. Having said that, this is a very simple way to get two cards. One of them is a mini slimline card, and the other one is a modified A2 size card and a nice bookmark out of an A2 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we're going to make our first cut at 6 and then our second cut at 6.5, and that leaves you a 2 by 6 inch bookmark, a 3 1/4 by 6 inch card, and a 4 1/4 by 5 inch card. So I've already done all the cutting, but that's the template that we're going to use today. Now, I've been designing some paper on Canva. I'm sorry, I will do a tutorial on that. I've just been so busy. I've got it on the list of things to do, so just be patient with me, please. At any rate, this is a paper that I call Best Stitches. And I notice on my print now that it didn't quite print right up here, so I've gone back to clean my print head a little bit, and hopefully that'll take care of that and that little tiny line which you may or may not be able to see. But anyway, on these paper suites that I've been designing, I try to do one page that is a DSP paper, so that it could be used for whatever you want to use it for. And then I printed this on some vellum. I have no clue what I'm going to do with that, but I just wanted to print it and see how it printed all right. And this again is that Strathmore vellum. It's wonderful for printing on, and this is an inkjet printer, and it's dried up. It doesn't take very long, just a couple of minutes to dry, and you can see nothing's coming off. So I don't know what we'll do with this, if we do anything with it at all today, but I thought I would try to make a modified mini slimline card. And let me tell you why on that. It's because, in all honesty, for some reason during this move I have lost my envelopes, and I had just bought 250 of them, so I don't want to buy any more of my A2 size envelopes. And I found these nice little envelopes at the Dollar Tree. Let me show you the box. Hang on. These are standard envelopes, and they're 3 5/8 by 6.5 inches. They're Jot brand that you get from the Dollar Tree. You can get these at any office supply place. Now, in the past, I've used these coin envelopes for mini slimline cards, and you can see the difference. Well, maybe you can see there's just not much in the way of substance there to warrant ordering special envelopes for mini slimline cards when you can fit them in these standard envelopes. So from now on out, this is what we're going to be using for that. And I have my little acetate template for this, because I want to make pretty much of a full card front on this card that I'm making today, but it's going to be 3 1/4 by 6. This is 3 1/4 by 6 1/4, so I just put a little dashed line here. I just put a little dashed line there for 3 1/4 by 6, and that'll work out just fine. I just had to pull it off a little bit in order to mark where I want to do the paper cut, because I wanted to kind of get this main focal image on this card that I'm working on today. So that's where we are, and let me get some of this stuff out of the way so that I can start pulling that piece of paper apart. I want to try, see, here's one of the things. When you print your own paper, you don't have any fear. There's no reason not to try whatever you want to try. And so that's where I'm going with this today. Now, I have this triangle, and please don't ask me where I got it. I imagine I got it from probably Amazon, but I've had this thing for years. Okay. I think I'm back. If you can hear toenails clicking out there, I've got the studio door shut, and all three of the dogs are outside the door because John's outside doing something, I don't know what. But anyway, if you hear some click, click, click every once in a while, it's just the way it is around here. It's chaotic. Okay, so on this ruler, there's a metal edge, and I'm going to use that to tear against and see how my tear looks. I may end up just cutting it, so I'm going to tear it just a little bit shy so that I've got a border on this card. This is the first time I've ever torn this paper. I can tell you that the vellum paper tears like a dream. So, okay. That worked out pretty well. That's got a nice little edge on it. Let's see. I'm lining this up with my cutting mat here so I can get a good straight tear on it. And then I'm just backing off of my mark a little bit. And I'm squaring my ruler with this cutting mat as well. So hopefully it'll look right when we're through. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to try to cut, to tear just a little bit more off of this end, and then I'll get my 5 3/4 inches on the final tear. There's a nice little strip to do something else with. So now I want 5 3/4 inches, and I'm just going to use my, well, you can't see it, I'm sorry. At any rate, I'm just going to use my guide down here for 5 3/4 inches, and we'll tear it there and see what it looks like. And so here's another nice little piece that I can use. There we go. So that's a nice little torn edge there, and I think I'm going to put a little bit of a black ink edge on that and just drag my ink pad up against it just for a little bit of definition on this paper from the card base. So I'm just going to do this, and I don't want to drag up onto the paper very much, but there we go. And I'm going to set that aside to let it dry up well and see what else I can pull off of this paper to make this card. So on these paper suites, I've been doing a little bit of ephemera, and there's a little interesting piece of ribbon here, and there's some, oh, I think they call that twill, if I'm not mistaken, twill ribbon there that might kind of be fun to go on this card. I think I'll cut that out and see whether I like that or not. I tried to do images that were kind of easy to fussy cut because I don't mind fussy cutting, but it's not my fave. I can just say that right now. In fact, I guess my favorite kind of cutting is punching. It's just easy. I don't do die cutting very much either, as you all well know. So let's see, and maybe I'll get I want to use the So What's New sentiment on this one, so I'm going to cut that out, and maybe I'll do this one here. So let me cut that and see what we can get going there. Got my little cutter bees going here. They're just a little bit easier for doing fussy cutting. I'm just going to do a little rough edge around these little buttons and sewing needle here, just for a little piece of ephemera to go on this card. If I'd had sense which, you know, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Oh, I would have gone ahead and mounted that up on some heavier cardstock before I cut it. Here we go. I have some lightweight chipboard that I save. This is heavier. This one's not too heavy. And these are just some postal mailers that people have sent stuff to me in, and they're not really super heavy, but they add just a little bit of substance to things. And so I'm going to take this little piece here and glue these up onto it and then recut them. So I'm just going to push this right through my Xyron and put some adhesive on it and glue this little piece here right down. But then to cut it, I'm just going to go back right around where I cut before. There. That has a little more substance to it now. And I'm going to put this little piece right here on there and cut it out as well, because I think I can use that. If nothing else, I'll use it on the inside of the card just to pull the front to the inside. Now, I was wondering about this paper. This is Hammer Mill, and I'll have to check the weight on it again. I can't recall, but I'm pretty sure it's 60 pound. If it isn't, I'll do a little edit in the film and put a note kind of up in there where y'all can tell for sure. But it runs through my printer beautifully, and so I really like using that paper, but it really isn't heavy enough for really nice ephemera, and so you kind of have to work with it just a little bit. So I'm going to put this back in my little bin that I keep the rest of them in here and put it up. And I think the ink is probably dried on this now. Looks like there's a little bit of where I was flicking that ink pad. Well, it's done now. Ooh, it looks like I needed to tear a little bit more off of that. Maybe another 1/4 of an inch. Here we go. Okay, so now I have to go back over that edge again. I'm going to put this on with my ATG gun and see how that works. Just an even white border all the way around. Could have pulled it down that way a little bit more, couldn't I? Well, I didn't, so I may trim off just a touch, just for looks. There we go. Won't make a bit of difference at all in the overall card. And so I'm thinking about this little piece. I like that one too, but I think this one with a little gray on it is going to be kind of nice. And then the So What's New, I think I'm going to do a little split cut on this, I think. Okay, So What's New. Alrighty, now I'm going to put some foam up on this piece, and I moved my foam tape, so I'll probably be searching for that every once in a while. It's amazing how habitual you get with things in your studio. And I've got a little piece here that I'm just going to cut up into smaller sections and then put it on the card and cut off what I don't need. It might be just about right. What do you know about that? So let me take the backers off of this tape. This is tape, it's 1 inch wide foam tape that I like to use, and I put it up on some release paper so that I can custom cut my own tape. There we go. And now I can just flip this card right over and trim those off. There we are. And I can use my little So What's New here. I'm going to put some glue on that. And I'm using Books by Hand PVA glue. I'll leave a a link to that in the description box also, probably as well as that foam, because this Books by Hand PVA glue is very, very reasonable. I'm going to cover up that little ubu there. And so what's new is going on the outside. Now, in the studio, before I moved, I had about a bazillion buttons, and it would have been really nice to have some buttons for this card, but they're all packed away and I don't know where they are, so I'm going to put some yellow flowers on here, I think. Hang on, let me see if I can find some. I have these old ball canning jars and one of them has some yellow flowers in it, some little silk flowers, and I think those would be just fine on this card. And usually what I do, I got these at probably the Dollar Tree or Walmart or Hobby Lobby or some such stuff. I don't know. But I usually just cut them right off the stems and just use the silk part and then put a little gem in the center. You'll see these, they've got these little prongs that stick out, and sometimes you can cut them off really short and then use the little stamen that comes with them, but more times than not what happens is they start pulling through and you've got your card done and it just doesn't work out very well. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all those off and take this little stamen guy out of there and just re-glue these back together. I think I'm going to use my art glitter glue for this process because it dries a little quicker. I think we've got some cohesion going there. Now let's see, I'm going to put another one right here and probably one right here. You know, I've really, very few cards have been ruined beyond being salvaged in the studio over time. Do you find that, or do you find yourself throwing cards away that you've worked on and just can't get them to come together? I don't know. This art glitter glue is not working very well on this today. If I come back and there's no flowers there, you'll know that I got frustrated and it didn't work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to put these little stamens back in there, because I would like to be able to put a little gem down in the center of those once they're dry. I think maybe that's working now. I'm just going to leave them alone for a minute and try not to. Let me go ahead and pull some yellow gems out. These are some little diamond dot trays that I got from Amazon, and they work really well for flipping the little gems over to the right side so you can use your little jewel picker to pick them up with. This is my favorite jewel picker. It's a Marvy jewel picker. I'll leave a link to that down in the description box too. It's been a while since I mentioned this, and these really work extremely well. So now let me see if I can reach down in here with a little drop of glue and then put my little jewel down in there. I don't know. Hold your breath now. Okay, I'm going to slip it right down in there. And then hold on to it for just a sec. Let that glue take hold. And this is like doing flower surgery. But I think the end result's going to be just fine. There we are. Aren't those cute? They were not worth all the effort, I can tell you that. So what's new? And on the inside, I have a stamp that says, "We've moved." And I just thought that was fun. And so that's what we're going to use. I'm thinking I might put these little buttons kind of right in through here someplace, just for a little extra something. Let me think about that. So I'm going to put my little "We've moved" inside, and then I'll handwrite the address for the person that I'm sending this to. And so that's what's new. We've moved. 2004, Stampin' Up. Still stamps like a champ. 20 years old. Red rubber will do that for you now. And then this little guy here is going to go right in there. And he's going to be nice and stiff because he's got that little bit of lightweight chipboard under it. So even though that paper was a little flimsy, it doesn't make any difference. Because that's going to be just fine. I'm going to put this one down. I'm going to put a little bit of foam underneath that spot there. And I'll use one of these little guys here that I'm trying to get rid of. Or maybe two. And then I'll put some glue on the other end of it. And we'll just glue that down right like that. And there we go. There's my card for today. And I hope you all have enjoyed it. And that you'll let me know whether you like this paper or not. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.